Welcome to the class of Electronic Product Design. In this subject of Electronic Product Design, we are going to study the systematic development of electronic product and also about the complete life cycle of the electronic product. The subject is divided into 6 units. Out of 6 units, the first unit comprises Introduction to Product Design, man-machine dialogue and industrial design, then user-centered design. It is very important to consider the aspects of user-centered design. By focusing user at the center, we have to consider the 5 elements of successful user interface design. And these elements are cognition, ergonomics, utility, image, and ownership. Besides this, we are also going to study about packaging and associated factors, then design for manufacture, assembly and disassembly, other aspects, wiring, especially for electronic product. Wiring is very important. All the considerations we need to take into account while designing electronic wiring. Then temperature and vibration shock effects on the electronic product. Safety considerations are very important. And last points are regarding the sources of noise, elimination of noise, grounding, filtering, and shielding aspects. But in this session, I'm going to discuss with you about the basics of electronic product design. Basically, the product design and development is nothing but it is a systematic efforts. We call this systematic efforts as system engineering. It is nothing but systematic approach, attitude, and set of methods for solving complex problems in the real world. So basically this systems engineering, it provides a generalized framework to develop the product, and the path of this system engineering, it includes concept development, design, testing, delivery, till documentation, and finally disposal of the product. So the following the path of electronic product development leads to best product at lowest cost. Of course, this path of product development, that is of systems engineering, is very flexible and adaptive. It varies from problem to problem or product to product. Let us see the flowchart of this systems engineering or the flowchart used to develop any product. So it starts with the first phase as a concept development. Concept development is nothing but defining the problem or defining the system. To define the problem or to define the problem definition of product especially, we need to first understand the problem clearly, because we cannot define problem without understanding it. So this first phase is very important. It needs to consider all aspects or all the requirements of user, customer, and these requirements must be collected by using all the methods available. So concept development, it leads to requirements generation, putting requirements into proper fashion and putting it in a document form, that we call it as a requirements document. After collecting requirements, we convert these requirements into specifications, and we also make document for specifications. We call it as a system specification document. And from this, design is started. Of course, different approaches for design are proposed. These approaches are verified by different aspects. Modeling is done, analysis is done, functional analysis is done, Prototyping is done and then different design approaches are tested and optimum design approach is selected. After designing, thorough testing is carried out, then verification is performed to meet users or customers' requirements, then proper installation of the product or system is conducted. Of course, maintenance and support is very important. So support documentation is also prepared and then the product is launched in the market. If we consider environmental life cycle of the product, then we have to consider last phase also, that is very important, that is disposal of the product when the product declines from the market. So these are the generalized phases or generalized framework of systems engineering which allows you to develop any product. Of course, it is, as I said, it is flexible and you can vary it from problem to problem or from product to product. Besides this, we need to consider another important concept, that is product life cycle. Of course, product life cycle is nothing but it is a course that a product sales and profits take over its lifetime. It shows the stages that products go through from development till decline from the market. So, actual phases of product life cycle are complete product development, then launching the product in the market, observing its growth, then maturity of the product gets matured in the market, we get maximum benefit, and over a period of time benefit starts decaying, that is it starts declining of the product from the market. Now while following the phases of systems engineering to develop the product, we need to consider many constraints. These constraints, major constraints are functionality, cost, safety, reliability, maintainability, utility, and time. Of course, when we consider functionality, then we need to check, does the product fulfill the need of the requirements, need of the user requirements or customer requirements? Is the cost of the product is as low as possible? Safety considerations are very important. So whether the product is safe or not, whether the product is reliable or not, how is it easy to maintain your product, how to do easy servicing of the product. Utility is of course very important. Any product should be easy to use. If the product is complicated for the use, then there are very much chances that the product is rejected by majority of the population. So utility is very important. And of course time. How long will it take to develop the product? Because if the development time is too long, then product will be launched too delayed in the market and profit margins will be reduced. So indirectly, what we can see is constraint forces to measure both the progress of development and conformance to the requirements. Within such constraints, a product passes through a complete life cycle, that is through all the phases. Now let us see what is concept development. As I told earlier, we need to first understand the problem, what we have to design, what are the requirements of user, how to solve those requirements. We must understand basically about the problem. When we understand the problem, then and then only we can define it. So to understand the problem, we should know what, where, who and when of the problem. And all these questions, answers needs, user needs, customer objectives, regions of operation, what are the constraints, regulations and standards. So when we collect all this data or when we study lot of customer requirements, especially culture of customer, whether the customer is social, economic, political, corporate. So we collect all these requirements or what of the system, and then we will be able to at least define our problem in a better manner. So identifying customer requirements means identifying what the customer wants. Here important is only what. We are not going to concentrate on how. Concept development initial phase is what the customer wants, that is requirements. So how to collect these requirements or how to identify these requirements? So there are marketing or salesperson who should understand the customer requirements thoroughly. So how do they understand the requirements of customers? They conduct large number of meetings, they conduct surveys, they take feedback from population, they collect data, they analyze data, and then they find out requirements of the customers or users. A proper solution is one that is techno-commercial acceptable to both buyer and supplier of the product. Besides basic requirement, further if we go into the depth of requirements, then this is the general outline of requirements. First is what? Performance. In the performance, we need to consider a lot of things, that is range, speed, throughput, resolution, size, weight, power consumption, EMI. If we take electronic product, then of course we always give focus on the speed. We want speed of processing to be very high. Size, we want compact size of the device. Weight should be light. Power consumption, it should be less. Electromagnetic interference, EMI, should be, of course, very, very less. Then reliability and maintainability aspects. These requirements, naturally, we have to calculate failure rate. We need to test failure mechanisms. Failure rate should be minimized. Human factors and user interface is important for all products because any products, it should be very easy to use. Interface to the user must be very simple and easy. Then and then only product will be preferred by large population. Safety and failure modes are very, very important because the products are handled by kids, by aged people, and of course for all humans. So safety is very important. So we need to consider all safety aspects. Operational regime and environmental aspects are important. Any product, it must be tested for all environmental conditions, extreme conditions, and we should find out the performance of the product under all these conditions. So this is about general requirements about the product. How to refine requirements? Whenever we have to refine the requirements, then first we develop the concept, we define the problem, then we do functional analysis, means what functions are to be carried out to get the solution. Then we do modeling. Modeling includes simulation, analysis, prototyping. Then we again characterize the solution. Then we check feasibility of it. If it is feasible, then again we go back for the requirements testing or requirements accuracy. Means in this way, requirements are refined. Now, once the requirements are refined, then we put all these requirements into a proper document, and that document we call it as a systems requirements document, SRS. After putting requirements into a document form, we convert or translate all these requirements into technical specifications of the product. And that technical specifications also we put in document form, and that we call it as a systems document specification.